Yeah, we're back again for another session of Jam Jar. Gee, that sounds nice. Hey, it's been a couple of months actually, because we missed the last program due to technical difficulties and all sorts of things. But if those of you out there have joined us today, welcome to Jam Jar, and we hope you stay with it. Got a wonderful guest in the studio today with me, whom I shall introduce soon. But first, the Jam Jar ditty. Now, how shall I do it today? Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Everyone listens to Jam Jar, Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Everyone listening to Jam Jar, Jam Jar. There you are. Oh, it's Jam Jar. Put it in, give it a swirl. Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Everybody's jumping about. Everybody's shouting about. Jam Jar, Jam Jar. We're all listening to Jam Jar, Jam Jar, Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Spread it around. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, very good.
Yet another
Love
version. Great. Well, you're looking at Errol, my friend Errol James Bruce.
Greetings.
Yeah, lovely to have you on the program this month, Errol. We should have had you on long ago, actually, to tell you the truth. But great to have you on board. Now, let's just set the levels here and see what we're doing. Can I have a bit of level from you, mate? Just a little bit.
Level?
That
How's
looks good.
that?
That's very good. Thank you very much.
I think I'm
Yeah.
on the level.
Yeah, you're on the level. Well, as I said, welcome everyone. We, of course, at this point in time, we'll make a big thanks out there to Dan Broughton. He's Wairarapa Web Design, and he's the reason, of course, why we have the program, or actually how we have the program, because without him we ain't got a program. He's one of our principal sponsors for this program. So thanks, Dan, if you're out there, and anyone who's interested in web design, or even wants to know a little bit about how to go about promoting your business and all those sorts of things, Dan's the man. Yeah, Dan's the man. He's in Carterton, Main Street there, as you're going through Carterton on the left-hand side, just as you go into the built-up shopping area of Carterton, he's right there. Okay, so what have we got in store today? We've got a lot to catch up on, of course. The weather has been a bit of a, with the hot weather, of course, it's a bit, during the day there's not a lot of things happening. Most people head for inside or in the shade, but yeah, there's some gigs that have been happening. Stonehenge coming up again on the 22nd of this month. The Tin Hut hasn't been that active, but there is a gig coming up at a musical gig. It's a music night for musicians at the Gladstone Tavern tomorrow night. So if you see this, see Jam Jar tonight, then you'll know that what I'm talking about. And we need to build that up again, without a doubt. It's been a little bit sort of thin with our numbers there, and to make it work, we need you people out there to come along and support it. It's such a good venue, and of course we'll be out on the veranda tomorrow night, and then of course every month it's the second Thursday in every month. There's a new gig that looks as though it's going to be happening. I'm not sure how or who with, but they're called Coco's, and they're over in the park there, over in the Queen Elizabeth Park. There's been a number of cafes and all sorts of things happening there, but this one looks as though it might work. It's pretty. I've met the owner. Her name's Priscilla, and we're looking at having some concerts maybe there, with especially emphasis on family and kids. I think she was saying, like to get the kids, and we're hoping to get a ukulele thing in the park there next to the cafe there, with a whole lot of kids on ukuleles. Practice in the morning and a concert at night. Well, not at night, but probably about from 7 to 8 or something like that. And so that's something to look forward to. We are trying to get something happening at Marvin's, down on the corner there opposite the second-hand shop, and I can't think of the name of, I should know, but I don't know. Marvelous Marvin, I call him, Marvin. We tried the other Wednesday, but we didn't quite make it because there was a bit of confusion in the times and stuff. But, yeah, it's just opposite the second-hand shop where they have all the second-hand goods on the other side of the road next to the foot specialist. Marvin's, yeah. And it's a really nice little cafe. We're going to do that on a regular basis. So keep your eyes open for that one starting up on a regular basis. I said, let me see what else have we got. Yeah, as I said, not a lot else happening at this point in time, but we're trying to build it up. And Paper Road is still in the in the making of whether how we can make that work as well. So, but that could be another venue. Yeah, so I've had a lot of people stop me and say, what the hell's Jam Jar about? What's Jam Jar about? What's all this Jam Jar thing? Well, yeah, it stemmed from the word to jam, which is a musician's term. When you get musos come together and don't really know what they're going to play or how it's going to work out, but they get together and they play until they find a groove and they get going. And it's more or less like sort of improvising, but it's a very relaxed style of musicians and people coming together. But I extended the bit to poets. I've had some poets on board here, painters, anyone who has an idea or a way of doing things, especially if they have become a unique sort of feature in the community, as some people have. I've had a lot of artists and poets and different people who have something to say, and I get them on the program and you're able to see where they're at and what they're doing. So I think it's quite interesting. We've had some really positive feedback, especially from my kids in the school. So kids, if you're watching this one, I suppose you're allowed up this late. It'll be about 9 o'clock, I think, more something like that. You're probably still allowed up. But anyway, hi to all the kids from Gladstone School and kids from Aupaki School, new students. So looking forward to this term. We're going to do guitar and ukulele and lots of singing and stuff. So we're really looking forward to that. Okay, so let's hook in and find out about our guest for today. Errol, James Bruce, is it? I thought it was James Bruce. I've got a good memory on that one.
You have.
Hey, we go back a ways, don't we, Errol?
Yes, I think you've got a date there written
I've
down.
got a date, and the date I got written here is 1977.
Yes, that'll be about right.
Yeah. Tell me, can you remember that initial meeting and how it happened? And you end up recording a guy called Daryl Neve and myself.
Well, what happened was I wanted guitar lessons, and I'm still waiting.
Is that right?
Yes. I had heard about you from a person I was working with doing window cleaning.
Yeah.
And he knew you, and he mentioned that you did guitar lessons.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, can we go and find him? You were in Lower Hutt.
Oh, yeah.
So I found you, and then I happened to mention that I was quite interested in doing recording bands on a sort of a demo basis.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, you got interested in that, the guitar lessons got put aside.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that.
And that's all right, we'll catch up one day. And you were very pleased with the recording I did, and we recorded, I think it was St George's Hotel.
I think it was at St George's Hotel. We did, from memory, Wee People's Lullaby,
yes,
which I might even do today. Could do another called Shamsi, which is written for a little girl that was, she was only a baby when we wrote the song. She's a grown-up lady, a woman now with children of her own, but what an amazing song. So it's interesting to know that you actually, because in those days there weren't a lot of people involved in the recording industry, eh?
No.
Not to a, I mean there was a few, but not like now every second person records, right?
Yes, I had a homemade mixer, if you recall.
That's right.
Rather strange looking thing.
Yeah.
Reel-to-reel tape recorders.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us about that, Errol. That's always interests me, because you had a gift in electronics and sussing stuff out.
Yes, but old electronics, not the modern digital stuff.
The
lost.
More the analogue sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, basically, I needed a mixer. I've always been wanting to build a mixer, and knocked up this thing with I think 10 or 12 inputs. It worked very well. And just had it connected into a real tape recorder, no effects or anything.
No.
The tape recorder I had could produce echo. And that was all.
Can you remember what kind of tape recorder it was?
An Akai X355, and I also bought another one as a result of doing the recording. Was it a test? X3, all Akai,
Akai, yeah.
1000 or something.
Was it a half-inch?
No, that was the 8-track we got later on.
Now, what was that one, Errol?
That's a
Tascam, was it? TIAC.
Tascam.
Yeah.
8-track.
That was a great machine, that one.
Reel to reel. I've still got it. Still got all the tape recorders.
Wow.
And it's part of my Baby Boomers Museum collection.
Yeah. It was a different era then, though, wasn't it? You know, it was analog, but the tape, the actual taping, was more of an accurate recording, I think, of what people were doing. Because, so nowadays they have digital and all the electronic, and they can fiddle with the stuff to make it sound like it.
Well, you only had two tracks, stereo basically.
Yeah.
And you had to sort of get it right from the beginning with your mixing.
Yeah.
And a microphone, 2 microphones on the drums.
Yeah.
Although I think you had drummer,
Yeah, we had drums,
and 1 microphone on every other instrument, which doubled as vocal mics.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Daryl, I seem to remember, played flute, didn't he?
That's right,
and something else. Did he play mandolin, or was that... Yeah, he played mandolin.
Yeah.
You were on guitar.
That's right.
Both were singing in harmonies.
Yeah. Wow, what an amazing... And of course, I remember the result. We were so wrapped with it getting... I think that was probably one of our first recordings we ever did.
It was raw recording too, because we had no equalisation.
That's right, yeah. You've still got that on tape somewhere?
All in storage in my museum.
That's great.
Which is in storage, of course.
Because we're going back to 1977, that's a few years ago, Errol, isn't it?
It is, rather.
It's great to have you on board, because as you and I became really good friends right from that point onwards, really. Yes, we got
it. As a result, too, I got interested in the concept of the Baha'i faith.
Yep.
I recall.
Yep.
You were already involved then.
I think so. Darryl and I were already Baha'i.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And there were some things that I liked about it, and
yep.
Joined in with a few things. Baha'i.
Yeah. So what I'm also interested in, Errol, because your background initially was when you were living in Christchurch. You were doing sound for one of the theatres, is that right, correct?
Well, the opening of the Christchurch Town Hall complex, which had it's an inaugural production, was Henry V, Dame Noah Marsh's last Shakespeare play.
Yeah.
My brother was involved, and he suggested I might like to go along to one of the rehearsals and help out with the sound. Well, I trotted down to one of the rehearsals and got dragged up to Dame Noah Marsh, and she said, "Oh, good, we've got somebody to do the sound." I had the whole lot. Just as a matter of interest, if the camera can zoom on there, that's what I look like.
Oh, boy.
This was a newspaper report.
Yeah.
Which the local Christchurch Star, I think it was, did for me about all my methods of doing sound effects, because I made up all my own sound effects.
Read a bit of it out for us, mate. It sounds interesting.
I will. Excuse me for changing glasses.
That's all right. As long as you can see.
If I was 24 then, showing my age, if 24-year-old Errol Bruce's neighbours have been casting strange looks in his direction lately, it is probably understandable. Some strange noises have been coming from the Bruce household in Brindwa lately, and Errol has probably been seen doing some rather odd things. But it has all been for a good cause and a lot of fun, says Errol, who was the sound effects man for the Dame Noah Marsh production, Henry V. And of course some of the sounds that they're referring to is I had to make up the sound of a horse and cart on cobblestones.
Oh, wow.
Now that was a tricky one. That's probably my most favourite sound that I did.
Yeah.
And my mother had an old metal-wheeled lawnmower and a concrete path.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of little aluminium egg cups.
Yeah.
and an old wooden box which I sat on top of the metal-wheeled lawnmower.
Yeah.
Now this may seem strange, how can you make a horse and cart out of that? Well, it was quite simple. I just went up and down past 2 little stereo microphones, new ones that I had, and wheeled it past back and forth, and tapping the little aluminium egg cups. Well, when you slow that down 1 octave, that's 1 speed on the reel-to-reel tape recorder, it sounds like the real thing.
Wow.
A horse and cart on cobblestones.
Right.
And that was used in the production. I also had to make a war. sword fighting and yelling and horse clops and
gunfire
coconut
and all
shells,
the rest of it and everything like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cannons, which I did by blowing into the microphone with an old spring reverb.
Oh wow, yeah.
Slowed all that down 1 octave, and I had a war.
Wow.
Including the stainless steel knives, which became swords.
Wow.
My mother wasn't very happy about all the little dents in the stainless steel knives. But
I love it.
We had, I think, 5 friends, including my brother, helping doing the yelling and making the noise and clashing the knives together. And that was the sound of a war during Shakespeare's time and Henry V.
Wow.
Yes, I had others. They helped me out with some of the sound effects. They supplied me with a tape with sounds I couldn't get. The horse's neigh.
Yeah.
Cock crow.
Yeah,
various little things.
Yeah.
And so all this was included, and I ended up with 25 sound effects in all, which we used.
Wow. So those early days were really, they must have been really enjoyable for you to get into, and must have given you and ignited a passion in sound and stuff like that.
I did, yes. Then I got interested. Well, I'd sort of been interested in music recording before then. I'd recorded a lot of Christchurch bands doing their demo tapes, the likes of Revivals, Salvation, Ray Columbus, Chicks. We did those live at night venue to help with their advertising. If people knew there was a recording going on, even if it wasn't used for anything, it attracted people to the venues.
Wow. So you're a bit of a legend, mate. They don't realise that all that work you were involved with all these early groups, recording them, you know.
Oh, yes.
And we were so lucky to have you about when, because Darren and I would just get breaking into the writing stuff and getting gigs. We were playing at the St George at the time, I think.
Yes.
Hotel, and we were both writing stuff, and for you to come along and record us some of those early recordings was
I think
wonderful.
Your full band, Horizon.
It was called Horizon. Yeah, it was.
You became Group of the Month.
That's right.
Of the ZM radio station.
We were, Horizon, mate. That's good.
You remember it all?
So I'm just going to, because I know that you do play a bit of harmonica. In fact, you're with one of the local groups here called
Jinx.
Called Jinx. That's that.
Yes,
John.
there's a long story to the name.
We'll get onto that later on. But I know you do play it like playing harmonica and a bit of blues. You're into a bit of blues occasionally, and definitely some of the other stuff like some children's stuff. You do a lot of work with kids sometimes. You know. You've got an affinity towards children. They seem to love what you do. And
yes, I've got one item of music which I play on C, which children like.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that later on. We'll play that.
And see, I won't say the name of what I play. See if anyone recognises the name of it.
Yeah.
I haven't played it for a while.
Now, tell us about. There was a group that we had in Wellington called Advanced Guards.
That was a Baha'i group.
And you remember about those?
Well, you were rehearsing in the little theatre that they had in Upper Hutt.
Okay.
I think it may have been called the Upper Hutt Little Theatre, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And you asked me to come along and do a bit of mixing on the PA for them, and they had some lovely songs. Then later on we decided to do a recording.
That's right.
Advanced Guards.
Well, can you remember what the song was or not?
There was a number of songs.
Yeah.
We had a number of quite well-known people involved. Baha'is.
Well, I think
Kirsten Zemke, who's often on Radio New Zealand National.
Well, I think Harry Crump might have been involved in that choir then.
I can't remember if he was there.
That's Barry's son when he was in. And I seem to remember Eastbourne. We did some stuff in Eastbourne as Advanced Guards as well.
May have done too. I've forgotten.
But anyway, it's going back a bit. But so that's, you know, that your connection with us recording wise goes back a fair way. You know what I mean? It's
yes, I still had the 2-track then.
Yeah.
No, we hadn't got the.
And thank God you've got all those recordings. You know.
Oh yes, I've got. I think 5 suitcases of reel-to-reel tapes.
Yeah. And just tell us, just briefly, Errol, if you don't look after tape like that, reel-to-reel stuff, if it's not looked after, it can deteriorate. Is that right?
Yes, well, it's a difficult one. You've got to keep it away from magnetic fields, and you've got to keep it away from dampness as much as you can, so they can be cleaned from mildew. And the very valuable tapes, such as the James K. Baxter one I've got, that's all wrapped in foil and in a side woolen garments to keep the air condition right for them. That's another story, and eventually they'll get to archives somewhere.
So at some stage or other, you moved to, well, we actually ended up in Hastings, didn't we?
That was about 1987, 88.
Can you remember much about that? What that was?
Well, we were asked to. By then, we'd bought an 8-track, the 8-track which you mentioned earlier. And we took that up with us, and they supplied a mixer at the Takitimu Trust, and we set up a studio and taught recording engineering. If you remember, we had some very interesting characters that we were teaching. Very colourful.
Some very talented people and some.
Yes.
Life was definitely not boring.
No, it certainly wasn't. And we also did some recording there, and in between courses, all female band asked us to record them, called Black Cats.
That's right.
Including Emma Paki.
Emma Paki. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
A delightful person.
Yeah.
And so we did an entire session of them, equivalent of an album. Which they eventually took over to Australia and got post-mixed and released that on. I think it was released on cassette. I don't think it was ever released on vinyl.
I don't think it was ever on vinyl or CD, but on cassette.
No,
I've seen a copy of the cassette. So Black Cats, what's it called?
If anyone has one out there, I wouldn't mind.
But the Cats was spelled with a K from memory.
Black Cats Go Gambling.
Is that what they were called?
Black Cat.
Black Cats.
And interestingly enough, there's a very interesting cat in the title song, Black Cats Go Gambling, and that's me. I have been called on to do all sorts of things. Being into sound effects, I can do quite a good cat bite. Thing like that. And I dropped a tin lid which sounded like a rubbish tin lid. Things like that. So there's
good days, mate. I remember. We were both of us at the Takitimu Trust for a number of years. 2 or 3 years.
It was a year. No, it was only a year.
Was a year all up?
It was 3 years with the following course that we did
with
in Carterton.
With the course in Carterton, okay. Which was a far more relaxed atmosphere and.
Well, it certainly had its moments.
Different. We had a few moments there, because we had Georgina Bayer there.
No, she was on our first course. And she was a student on the first course, and then she eventually took over the drama part of the course.
Exactly, she was one of my students, and then she became a tutor for drama.
And it was being involved with those courses. She found out about homeless people and that,
and started to do something, and then ended up being the mayor of Carterton.
Well, she went into politics in order to do something about it. Local politics then.
The old people just loved her to death. They thought she was great.
She was amazing.
She was amazing to work with, such a vibrant sort of personality. And Leanne Cridiana was another that springs to mind. He was there.
She was the administrator.
And there was all sorts.
I've seen her recently too.
But that was a good. How long did we have that for? 2 or 3 years, I think.
3 years at least. We had different administrators through that time, but Leanne was the one that helped us start the courses. And she remembers it fondly. There's There were other people, but I can't remember.
Oh, there's lots of people.
We ran drama with the drama courses. We
Yeah.
had little stage productions.
That's right. Yeah.
At the end of each course.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember.
And there was, you taught lighting and sound and
Yes,
all that. We taught all that sort
well,
of stuff.
the lighting and sound is something else that's interesting. When I was living in Paikakariki a few years before, I was involved with a Maori group,
Yeah.
a Maori club, and they asked me to do lighting and sound for a stage production they were put on. So I built a lighting board out of an old petrol station power pump board,
Yeah.
put home dimmers in it,
Yeah.
and with the reel-to-reel tape recorders and mixer I had,
Yeah.
I put together this entire sound effects and lighting system.
Yeah.
And when I shifted to Upper Hutt and eventually to Carterton, I installed this system in the old CADS theatre.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Which is
I
where we
remember
did
the
our
Cats
courses.
Theatre, yeah, yeah.
And so it was all my own homemade lights.
Yeah.
Don't know if it would have passed an electrical test.
Probably not, but they worked.
They did the job, and we did many courses.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the little stage productions eventually led on to the Phoenix Theatre.
That's right, yeah.
And over the years, the Phoenix Theatre eventually became Limelight, which
Yeah,
exists
which you're
now.
still with now.
Yes,
on the
I
committee.
got elected back on the committee. I
Yeah.
was quite pleased about that.
So you've had a long history with theatre and lighting and sound, which is great.
When we set up the Phoenix Theatre after the courses, we got it registered as a what do you call it?
Charitable
trust. Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't charitable trust so much. It was incorporated.
Yeah,
Inc.
yeah.
So we got an ink on the front
Right,
of it.
yeah.
And that was when we had George Webby as
Oh, yeah.
president,
Yeah.
me as vice president,
Yeah.
and a wonderful committee.
Yeah.
And we got
And you would have had links and come across Michael Wilson, of course.
Michael Wilson did our very first play, which was a children's play entitled No Such Thing, all about animals that
Yeah.
had become
I
extinct.
remember that well. Was
The
it?
moa and
What a great night. It was a great
all done
play.
with children. It was lovely.
Awesome, yeah.
And Michael Wilson and Joanne Simpson.
That's right, yeah.
Joanne
yeah.
Simpson
Yeah.
was excellent. And
Yeah.
then George Webby did a adult play, the first adult
Right,
play
yeah,
for it,
yeah.
which was Veronica's Room.
Yeah. You know, I came across George quite. He was a very good friend of my brother, the Jeff Kingsford Brown. Of course, he was came out through the New Zealand Drama School through.
Oh, Jeff, very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's brilliant. You know, you saw him the other day.
Yes,
in fine form.
reading that wonderful story.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you need to get him here and read that story
I think
on
so,
here.
yeah.
Do it because it would really go across very well.
It was just
It's a story about moths,
about moths.
very similar
yeah.
to the Very Hungry Caterpillar,
Yeah.
but slightly different.
Slightly different, yeah. Now going back to the course we had, I ran into a guy the other day by the name of Johnny Slater,
Oh yes, Johnny, I've met up with him recently.
and he was talking about stuff when we used to take all the kids, because we did the theatre, music. I had the music course
the
going, of
outdoor
course,
stuff.
and he used to take us up the valley, and we used to do
Wars Forry.
walls foddy, and we had to do across the swing bridge, and we had to do what's it called, abseiling, and
Yes.
and whitewater rafting.
Yes.
And I had a fear of heights, and I didn't want to abseil at all. But none of my kids would go down unless I went down. So I always
skated.
remember it. I think it was about 100-metre drop, I think, to the floor of the stream there, and I was just about beside myself, passing out with fear. But I thought, well, if I don't do it, none of them are going to do it. Excuse me. So away I went, and down I went, and by the time I got to the bottom, I was feeling okay. In fact, I had another go at it later on that day, and all my kids then sort of had no choice. They had to do it, because Mr. Brown, their shooter, had gone down and done it already.
Yeah, there were quite a few daring things we
Yeah.
got involved in. Do you remember did you go to the gliders?
Yes,
Remember the gliding?
that's right. The glide's called down
At
Papawai
Greytown,
Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. We did lots of stuff.
It was a wonderful flight.
Yeah, we didn't do the ballooning though. I always wanted to get up in the balloon, and we didn't
same
manage
here,
that.
But after what happened recently,
Yeah.
Carterton.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tragedy. And actually, speaking of that, while I'm thinking of it, our friend Peter King, who's a supreme balloonist and a good friend of mine, is not that well at the moment. In fact, As I saw him the other day, and he's pretty crook, so I think his days are numbered. But everyone's out there listening to him. He's at home there and down there and at his home. And if you want to see him, now's the time to see him, because he won't be around for that much longer. And Pete, love you, buddy. You've brought a lot of joy to people over the years with your ballooning, and of course his wife Annette is in Kandahar. She's not that well either, and so end of an era almost. Yeah. Right, I think we might do a song, Errol.
Yes.
Shall we do a blues song?
Yes.
Let's do a bit of blues here.
You and I think the first blues one we did together was Chicago Blues.
I think it was Chicago Blues. We'll do Chicago Blues. And this number goes way back. I think this is, it's in the key of A. And I'm going down Chicago, 5 minutes from me in blue. Yes, I'm going down Chicago, 5 minutes from me in blue. And if you be that woman, I'll be the one you choose. I'm gonna pick me up a paper, read me the Sunday news, yeah. I'm gonna pick me up a paper, gonna read me the Sunday news, oh yeah. And if you be that woman, I'll be the one you choose. Chicago, give me those Chicago blues. Oh, Chicago, give me those Chicago blues. 'Cause if you be that one, I'll be the one you choose. Come on, Errol, play me some harp. So long, Chicago, so long, Chicago blues. So long, Chicago, so long, Chicago blues. If you be that woman, I'll be the one you choose. Chicago, give me those Chicago blues. Chicago, give me those Chicago blues. And if you be that woman, I'll be the one you choose. Play it again there, Errol. Chicago, give me the Chicago blues. Oh, Chicago, give me the Chicago blues. And if you be that woman, I'll be the one you choose. Hey,
Love it.
It brings back a few memories, doesn't it?
Yes, I think I probably overplayed a bit.
No, I think it's been making up for all those years we haven't been doing stuff together. Yeah.
Gosh, we used to do quite a bit of that and different things.
Yeah, you've still got the touch
whole
there,
way.
Errol, which is good to hear, mate.
Yes, I haven't played blues for a while. It's good to do it again.
And let me have a quick consult of this book here, which says Hastings. We did Hastings. We did something to do with what's that about? 1991. We started that course. That went for 5 years.
And that's just 5 years. I thought it was
4 or
about
5 years. 4 years, maybe.
Was, with Georgina involved.
Yeah.
Led on to the theatre, as I said. So
over those years, apparently, we had more than 400 students that went through that course. And slightly under 400 students over those things.
Probably. Of course, I didn't mark them down.
I remember someone saying to me, I run into some of them sometimes, they always remember me and come on. Of course, they're adults and they've got kids and they're married, and they tell me how much they enjoyed that course. And
yes,
of course,
I met up with a lot of them at Barry's Memorial.
Yes, yeah, a lot of them were there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember it fondly.
Yeah. Barry Smith, his memorial service. Yeah.
Yes, because do you remember we also started
Charlene, remember Charlene?
Yes, do you remember we started up a music club as well?
That's right, we did, yeah. Trying to get things happening there. And we have a trouble where they start off well that people don't, and what we're finding lately is that people aren't and not supporting as much as they used to, maybe because there's so much happening at the moment.
Oh, yes, and people have so much to do.
There's so much on their plate, and whereas the early days, we had maybe 1 or 2 things to go a week. Now people have got half a dozen, maybe a dozen things they're trying to, especially if they've got kids, school things and all that sort of carry on,
and of course so many parents are having to learn new technology and keep up with it in order to keep up with the children's education, and that must keep them busy.
Yeah. Now another thing I wanted to not highlight but bring up, Errol, was your interest in in Esperanto.
Well, that's interesting you should say that, because my mother learned Esperanto. She saw it as a part of a school entry thing that my brother got, starting high school.
Yep.
And so she eventually learned it. We went to a few congresses, and I didn't learn it. I managed to pick up some of it at congresses and from my mother and my younger brother talking it between them. My younger brother being interested in languages.
Yeah.
Then my mother began to teach it at the Workers' Education Association in Christchurch. And she also belonged to the Christchurch Club and eventually became president of the Christchurch Club after being treasurer for a while. Of course, all this time a little bit more of the Esperanto got drummed into me.
Yeah.
And then after meeting you and becoming interested in the Baha'is, I discovered something most amazing.
Yeah.
Was that the inventor of Esperanto was, his name was Dr. Zamenhof. And what was even more fascinating, he had this idea of brotherhood of man, as in mankind. And it was almost parallel to the Baha'i concept. And of course, they lived about the same era, in the 19th century, isn't it? And I found out a little later on about his daughter, Lydia Zamenhof.
Who was a Baha'i.
Who was a Baha'i and became a Baha'i,
incredible.
And became very good friends with Martha Root.
Yes.
Who learned Esperanto through Lydia. And some amazing books. I'd love to see a film made of it. Yeah.
It was always fascinated me, and I remember the first thing I ever learned Esperanto from you was "Chuvi deziras kaf trinkon."
Me?
Me? Is it that you desire
yes.
a cup of coffee? And that was very important when we visited, of course.
I came across this.
Yeah.
Here, I can't. 1987.
Yep.
It's an invitation to a Baha'i Esperanto conference.
Wow.
I didn't realise I had it, and it fell out of an Esperanto book.
Wow. Whereabouts was that, Errol? In New Zealand
Baha'i
there?
friends.
In New Zealand?
No, Europe.
Okay.
I'll just quickly whip over glasses
Yeah.
and read the top heading here.
Okay.
It said, Planning Committee for the Baha'i Participation at the Esperanto World Congress, 1987.
Yeah.
So it was actually an Esperanto Congress, and the Baha'is were going to get involved,
Wow.
which I gathered happened. I must have been sent this in the hope that I might be able to make it, but I had no money to travel.
to Europe. Yeah.
Universal House of Justice is mentioned here at the International Teaching Centre.
Yeah.
All boards of councillors, National Assemblies of Australia, Canada, New Zealand and United States Baha'i Esperanto Ligo.
Wow.
Sort of league.
Well, it was at one stage thought perhaps that Esperanto might be the auxiliary universal language.
Well, Abdul Baha recommended all Baha'is learn it.
It's a good language to learn, but it looks at this point in time that English is the most popular language that's spoken throughout the world. So,
And that's Esperanto lessons.
Yep. Wow.
But it had a sort of a,
But I
a
quite
sense
like
about it.
I quite like the style of it and what it sounds like. It's always,
Well,
it always impressed me.
if anybody wants to hear it, around about 7.25 megahertz
Yep.
on shortwave radio, if you've
Yep.
got a good reception
Yes.
area,
Yep.
broadcasted by Radio Beijing, though I don't think it'll be happening at the moment with
No.
what's happening in China.
Yeah.
They've been broadcasting Esperanto for approximately an hour. I first picked it up in 1966, I think,
Yep.
and it's been going several times a day ever since,
Wow.
and still going.
Yep. And that.
That's
Yeah.
the current situation.
Yeah, no.
Hasn't disrupted it.
Yeah, and that's funny because a lot of the people I've met that are into Esperanto they definitely have that common vision of the unity of. They have that looks as though they've carried on Dr. Zamenhof's sort of idea of
His Brotherhood
that,
of Man idea.
the Brotherhood of Man idea, and they're very close, lovely people. I've met them
Yes.
quite often. I come across and they say, I belong to the Esperanto. And I say to them, have you heard about Baha'i Faith? And they say, oh, yes, they're the founder of Esperanto, and they give me the whole rundown. So they definitely know its roots and where it came from, which is very interesting. Yeah. So, so that was almost a sort of, it must have been...
I don't know if the camera can see that, but that's the photo of the Baha'is, and
right,
Lydia Zamenhof is in that
Just bring it
photograph.
down slightly, mate. Bit more. Yeah, there it is there. Yeah.
But that's an Esperanto magazine, by the way, and it's got quite a bit about Baha'i faith in it.
It's got a little robin on the front there. Looks like a robin.
Yes, maybe I'm not sure if New Zealand bird or not.
Yeah, he's
Might be
kind of cute
relative,
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. We've got that. So there must have been a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a natural progression, but you must have been quite excited when you found out that the essence of Baha'i faith was along very similar lines to Esperanto.
Well, sadly, Lydia Zamenhof and her brother and sister were captured by the Germans during the war.
That's right.
And unfortunately they were met their end in a gas chamber.
In the gas chamber, yeah.
One of the...
I knew that. It was very sad.
Very, very sad.
So, one of the few Baha'is that actually...
Dr. Zamenhof died some time before.
Yeah. But I have read articles and books. There's a wonderful book about Lydia Zamenhof.
Yes, there is a excellent book.
Yeah, and it's well worth a read for any of you, even if you're not a Baha'i, but if you want it from a human interest point of view, and the strength of that woman was incredible.
There is another book about Martha Root.
Yes, yeah.
Who talks a lot about Lydia in her book. Martha Root, Lioness at the Threshold.
Lioness at the Threshold, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Lydia Zamenhof one is just Lydia Zamenhof, from what I remember.
Yeah.
There is also another book, Letters from Lydia Zamenhof, I think it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were to Martha Root.
Right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a track here for us that this is you playing harmonica in the group that you're with at the moment.
This is an old recording.
It's an old recording, isn't it? So
we're going to redo this recording with permission of Jinx and John Rowe, who put this band together.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind us playing this. I did say I was going to mention the band.
Yep, you mentioned the band, but Jinx, they're called Jinx. They do a lot of good work in the old folks' homes and all that sort of. I mean, really
got one in
impressive.
North coming up.
Yeah.
This one recording was done some time ago.
Yeah.
And I play a very special mouth organ on it.
Yeah.
Which is this one.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-octave.
Yep.
You've got a upper octave and a lower octave.
Yeah.
And you'll hear this on the disc.
Okay.
But we're re-recording it, as I said, to make it a better quality. We've started it.
Okay. Well, we'll play that track now. And what's it called? Is it called...
Angel. I Believe in Angels.
It's called Angel. I Believe in Angels. Well, that's a good... We like that. So we'll play that.
Ballady.
Because we're fast running out of time. It's been such an amazing... An hour goes pretty quickly. And I want to hear you play the little children's song yet. And by then we'll be sort of... But we can always get you in again later on, Errol.
Yes.
But here we're coming right up now with the track Angel.
I Believe in Angels.
I Believe in Angels. Here we go. Wow, there you go. I Believe in Angels.
It's John Rowe and his son Stuart Brothers on the electronic drums and the...
Who's the woman on the vocals? Is that Who's singing? Errol?
What was her name? Oh, gosh, I'm shocking with names at the moment.
See if I can...
Yes, she, I think she wrote the song. Oh,
I've only got, unfortunately, the disc, so there's nothing,
nothing written on the back.
No, nothing written on it, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Yeah, she's excellent singer.
Yeah. No, that's a good track, and that's obviously an original track as well. It sounds original. I've never heard it before myself, so I'm guessing it's the original.
I think they may have put it on the internet.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, here we are. I've got.
And they're going to re-record that one. Is that right? Or not?
Yes, we're in the process of it.
Okay.
No,
yep.
What I say is listen out for it.
Yep.
And we'll see where it goes.
So, okay. So just to wrap up, because we haven't got a lot of time left, I'd like to, maybe the kids would like to hear something on the harmonica that you could do especially for them. This is my kids at school. So
yes.
All you guys, your kids out at school that are learning guitar and thing, this is my friend playing a tune especially for you guys.
Something from a way back, but I found when I play it to
what if it's from
modern children, they seem to know it.
A radio stories about a little fire engine, perhaps?
Oh, you've given it away.
Okay.
Haven't played it for a while.
Do it again, mate. You got the camera on
I'll
you
do
now.
the sad bit. I'm afraid that was a bit rough.
Been a few years, I'd say, since you played it.
It's been years since I played it.
Well
anyway,
done,
it was
mate.
Flick the Fire Engine, a rather rough attempt at it.
Yeah, well, the kids will love it. They probably won't remember it, but I'll tell them about it when they see. They'll say, who was Flick the Fire Engine? They were good stories. I remember Frank and, what was it called? My name is Maxie and I drive a taxi. And I give the kids a ride around the square. Remember that? They have to promise me they will always brush their teeth and comb their hair and always something or other. Anyway, and the stories of actually the Max the taxi, and he picks up a bear and he has in the back of his sitting in the back of his taxi. I always remember that. And
it was Little Toot and
yeah,
Sparky and the Talking
Sparky
Train.
and the Talking Train and all those ones.
They played quite a few of these recently on national radio.
Very indicative of a period of time when stories were, they didn't have so much sort of flying around in supersonic ray guns and all that sort of carry on.
There's a reason why I mention these children's stories is because that's what got me interested in sound effects.
Yep.
And tape recording and recording generally.
Yep.
Flick the Fire Engine, you had pouring water and the sirens and all sorts of things. Sparky and the Talking Train, where you heard the sound effects of the Sparky, help me, Sparky.
Yeah.
Right front wheel. and such things like that. And I love those sound effects. And a lot of the children's stories have sound effects in them. It just got me very interested. And then I got my first little tape recorder, which was driven by the front spool rather than properly regulated.
Yeah.
And I was cycling through Hagley Park in Christchurch, and there was some ducks on the river, and I recorded my first sound effects of these ducks on the river.
Wow.
And I was so impressed with what I'd done. I thought, I've got to pursue this.
Wow.
And that's what led me to that. As for the mouth organs, my mother and father both played mouth organ just as a hobby.
Yeah.
And I just got interested in them. I got, for my birthday, a little plastic mouth organ.
Yeah.
And they had good notes on it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that just sounds like a life. And so you've had the odds ups and downs with your health, but it's coming right, Errol?
Oh, yes. Well, we do have ups and downs with our health.
Yeah.
Even during the courses we ran at the community centre, I had a rather disastrous
one
and ended up in hospital.
I remember that myself quite well. I was involved with that one.
You dedicated the whole show to me.
We
Which
did.
is very sweet. I saw it on video later.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock to all of us, but you came through it, eh? Which was good.
Here.
You're still here, and you're still doing it. Yeah, so we really appreciate you coming in and sharing with us today, Errol. Because, you know, for me anyway, and many others, you're a very important, integral part of their whole system. What they did, playing music and sound and theatre, is definitely indebted to you, not only here, but I think in Christchurch as well. And so, you know.
Sometimes one gets attracted by a town. And Carterton, you know, I think it's one of the few places I ever came back to after leaving it for a while.
Yeah.
There's just something special about Carterton.
Yeah, there is. It's got a good energy there. I enjoy Carterton. I mean, as you know, I was there for years as well.
Where we used to have the theatre in Carterton, it eventually got pulled down.
Yeah.
And the Carterton Events Centre.
That's right.
Sprung up on it.
So they're all built on all that energy that and all those things that happen in that very spot.
I'm sure what we used to do at the community centre sort of encouraged the idea of a events centre.
Absolutely.
At first I wasn't happy with the idea because I didn't want to lose our old theatre.
Yeah.
But when on opening day...
Yeah. I was the same.
I got invited to by the mayor.
Yeah.
I looked over the events centre in its finished state, and there was our Phoenix Theatre, only much larger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so there, you know, that's what happens when you work in the same, pulling in the same direction. And there's some good things that have happened. Many theatre shows. Not only when we had the Carterton Centre youth group, the group working there, I think it was called TOPS from memory, TOPS courses.
TOPS, that's right, yes.
TOP, which I never really understood what TOPS actually meant. But
I didn't know.
But anyway, TOPS courses.
It was arranged through the
we had
Labour Department.
A lot of performances, a lot of musical things happened there. A lot of music people who actually got a love for music and started off and are musicians now. You know, there's people out there who are actually playing music.
It had 76 seats. Oh, bless you.
Sorry. Oh, and on live television too.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so we're about coming. We've got a minute to go, and we're just going to go out in a bit of a song. So if you want to grab a D harp, we'll just play something, and we're going to go out on this song here. When you speak now from the heart, feel with your life, oh yeah. The love you have, oh, speak from the heart. When you speak from the heart, you know that you can't go wrong. Go wrong. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in, and it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Errol.
Me.
Thank you very much again, Errol, for coming in and sharing with us today. You've been watching Jam Jar with Stefan Brown, and we'd love to catch you next time round. So till then, be nice to each other. Oh yeah.
You run, but you don't know.